So, when we come to the great Mahdi, he says student enrollment rules of Islam. Ooh, a rule is a guiding principle that's going to guide your study, set your mind for what you're about to learn. And the first question that he asks, who is the original man? Now let's think about what Master Farad Muhammad taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to teach us. He didn't come to just enroll you in a class and you come and sit and listen and go back home and do the same old stupid things you've been doing all your life. No. He came to give us the mind of the originator. So he asked, who is the original man? Why would he ask you that? What did he have in mind? He wanted you to understand in this classroom that you are a student of the originator, and you are a direct descendant of the originator. You got to set the student's mind. Who am I? Well, the Bible tells you he made man in his own image and after his own likeness. Well, he made you into a God. He made you to become a God. He made you to master the circumstances of your life. But no one can master the circumstances of their lives until they have the mind and the spirit of a master. You don't wait till they get to be 90 to tell them that they're a master. From the time they're born into the world, you must make them to see that they are offspring of the originator. Well, that's interesting. You mean I, little old me, is the offspring of the originator? Well, if you were the son of the heavyweight champion of the world, wouldn't you feel like you walk around flexing? I can whoop anybody because my daddy is the heavyweight. Well, hell, that's nothing. If you're a direct descendant of the originator of the heavens and the earth, is there anything that you cannot accomplish? And just think with me. I'm from God. I'm created in his own image and after his likeness. That sets the mind of the student. That's why they don't teach God in school. See, they give you this kind of, excuse me, crappy education that makes you extol the value of white accomplishment in a universe that their accomplishment is nothing in comparison to what the originator originated for us to study and master. So, if Elijah Muhammad said he's Yaqub in reverse, he's like the second Adam of your Bible. It said the likeness of the messenger of God in the last days is the likeness of Adam. Well, that's a ruler. Adam was made to rule. Well, if Elijah Muhammad is a man that is teaching us that we are the choice of God to lay the foundation of a brand new world, then you have to have the mind of a ruler and the mind of a master. And you don't get that in college. You get that from the milk of your mother's breast. You didn't hear me. See? They had something on CNN about crack babies and women that are addicted to oxycodone. And the babies that they are producing are born into the world as addicts because they're feeding from the system of a drug addict mother. Well, what about you as a young woman becoming a mother? You limit your value to some cheap temptress, sex object? When that baby is nursing milk from your holy breast, that milk should contain the ingredients that grow them into masters. And they cannot have that kind of milk in their breast unless that mother is taught and trained of her value. And that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you teach a man, you teach an individual. But when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. So when you have uneducated, unprincipled, immoral, degenerate women, how can you produce that which God has ordained to be rulers of a brand new world? Say, well, how does that match with the scriptures? Say, well, God says, thou shalt no more be the tail. Thou shalt be the head. Well, think about that. How can you be the head of something and the tail at the same time? I'm sure you'll figure that one out. You are made, you. God has chosen you out of the world to make a new ruler for the world. He chose something that was foolish, that was ignorant, that was deprived, that was oppressed, that was mocked and scorned and ridiculed, but God chose us to be the material that he would fashion into a new ruler. I'm going to place a ruler in the earth. See, but in order for you to rule, you have to think like a ruler. Think like a ruler. A young lady was talking to me the other day about college. She wanted my help to help her with her education. And I said, what do you want to be? And she gave me some course that meant nothing. I said, well, I'm not wasting no money on you. And I'm not sending you to school for social time. See, what course did she choose? I think I like psychology. Yeah, right. This is the product of psychology. And you that have a degree in it, you can't help yourself, much less somebody else. Talk to me. you think I'm just making stuff up, then okay. The psychologist suffering from mental illness. I said, why did you choose psychology? I didn't let her answer. I said, well, it's because you're looking for ease. So you just want a college diploma or degree that you can show off. Look what I got on my wall. I'm a graduate from the stupid university. And I have a degree in stupidity. I can't get a job. I can't do nothing to affect change in the society, but I have a degree. Your teachers are like used car salesmen who have sold you an education that you can't use. I say to hell with the school system, to hell with the education of this world. Now, are you telling us, Farrakhan, that we shouldn't go to college? No, I'm not saying that. But in order to get something out of it, you got to bring something to it. And the problem with you is you're bringing nothing to the school, expecting something from it. What mind do you bring? What focus do you have? A social life, party life, smoke reefer life, learn the latest dance life. Is that what you're asking your parents to sacrifice and send you to college for that crap? Is that what you want? Let me show you something from the Quran. That's why I say read. The Quran teaches that Allah created the human being to face, not run away from, face difficulty. So you don't want no difficulty, right? You just want to get through school. See, there's a big difference, isn't it? Because if you really want difficulty, you challenge yourself to a course that will aid in building a world. I want to be an engineer. That's a challenge. Oh, that's difficult. But the Quran says with difficulty comes ease. And then in another place it says after difficulty comes ease. Don't ever choose ease and think you're following God's path. He never made it easy for none of his prophets. And he never made it easy for Jesus. The path was difficult. But with that difficulty, choosing such a difficult road came ease. Why? Because when you choose the thing that is difficult, and you have the right mind to challenge and face the difficulty, when you overcome the difficulty, the ease that attends the difficulty means you have advanced yourself. You have advanced the world in which you live because you chose a path of difficulty to produce the ease that you wanted to start with. You know what ease is? Ease is mental satisfaction over success. Oh, I'm happy now because I accomplished something. See? I faced a difficulty. I overcame it. See, if you're really a Christian, then you should understand how Jesus and Paul and put that thing. I can do all things, not some things. Come on now. See? He's trying to give you a mind like his mind. I can do all things, but I do it through Christ, which strengtheneth me. Do you understand what you say? Do you understand what you preach? I don't think so. That's why we need a guide to help us in our reading. Who is the original man? See? From the cradle. You're talking about a new curriculum? See? Don't worry about math and science and all of that first. Worry about giving them the right attitude and mind to achieve the curriculum that you have for them. This Quran, God talks like this. I. Oh, that's heavy. And I said, let there be light. And there was light. But that's tough stuff. But I did it. That's the only one that can say it. Is the I who said it. But then the Quran switches. And we did this. And we created the lower heavens with stars. We did that. And we raised the mountains in the earth lest it convulse with you. We did this. We who? I thought God was one God, but we acting on the will of God is one. Now, look. All children are individualistic. It's what I want. It's what I like. I'm not going to participate because I have not been featured in this presentation. See, but you can't be I. You can play at it, but you can be a part of we. See? And when you're teaching children, you must show them what I can do and what we can do better. See, you want to get children to understand that we live in a world of others, and human beings are social beings. That's all part of training. See? All right, now, I guess I can go where I wanted to go. Check this scripture out. Jesus talking. Birds have nests. Foxes have holes. But the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. Let's stop. What kind of education did the bird have that the bird could build a nest? What kind of education did the fox have that it could dig a hole? And what kind of education did the Son of Man have that he had no place to lay his head? Aren't we sons and daughters of men? Well, you got a degree? What are you doing? What is the level of productivity from your degree? You produce nothing? Well, if you're a sensei, how do I know you're a good sensei? I don't measure it by all the katas that you do. I messed up that counter for sure, but that's what I'm trying to show you, how big a mess up teachers are. You are not a good sensei until you, a master, can produce out of your class a master. And we are not good teachers unless we can produce from our students masters of what we were trying to teach. Birds have nests. Foxes have holes. The Son of Man has no place to lay his head. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the current final call, I reproduced his article, Up, Command, Up. Well, evidently somebody tell you up, that means you're down. Up! You can accomplish what you will. In that article, he talks about land as the basis of all economic development. Well, what does that have to do with curriculum? Go ahead. See, if curriculum does not prepare the student for the struggle of life itself, then it's a worthless curriculum having no real value. Are we making sense? Look at this. If all of the major wars that have been fought, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, have been fought over land, and then we ask ourselves, how much land do we have? And you have to say, oh, gee, I don't have much, nothing. Oh. Well, tell me, if spirit is the energy of life, the energy of life must be attached to the activity of life. The activity of life is to preserve this. That's the first law of nature, is what? Self-preservation. Well, how are you preserving yourself with your mouth in the kitchen of your enemy? Talk to me. Huh? What did you have for breakfast this morning? Wheat Chex? Cheerios? Little Rice Krispie? Who made that for you? Well, I mean, it's in the supermarket. I went and plucked it off the shelf. Yes, you did. And what kind of health condition are you in? Well, I don't want to talk about that. A little diabetes, a little high blood pressure. Yes, and keep going. A little cancer. Keep going. AIDS. What's wrong with you? Because you are not involved in the activity of life. And the activity of life is called business. Business. And if you look at the first four letters, busy. Busyness. Well, what are you busy doing? Nothing. And that's the reason you're busy doing nothing, because we're not producing anything for ourselves, our children, and our people. This affects us all. So education is not just cultivation. Education is preparation for life itself and the struggles that God has ordained for living people. Living people must produce food, clothing, shelter, living people must engage in trade and commerce with other living people. Living people must engage in a system of barter or a system of gaining monies for what you produce so you can research, develop, keep growing what you build, maintain what you build, protect what you build. So education must prepare the little one to come out in the world with a mind to conquer. I think when we come out of Muhammad University, we should want to become engaged in agriculture. See, most of us from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, we ran away from the South because farm life and sharecropper life was very difficult, and we got very little. But now if you come north, you got your little house on the south side or the west side, and you keep it looking very nice. But what else do you have? Well, I tell you, I came north, I got a job in the factory. And where's the factory job now? It's gone. Did it take you with it? No. Factory job is overseas. But do we need clothing? Do we need shelter? Do we need food? But we are sitting around waiting for somebody else to provide us with that, so they, being merchants of death, are killing us with the food we eat because we don't respect agriculture. Come to Muhammad University, you're going to learn that the earth is the heaven that God gave to the righteous. Everything you could need or want is in the earth. The cure for every disease is in the earth. So if you have no earth that you can call your own, then you have nothing on which to build a secure future for yourself and your people. So in Muhammad University, we have to know the value of land. Because after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked the question, who is the original man, who's the colored man, he asked you the population of the original man and the population of the colored man. Why? He wants you to see your relationship to others, your numbers in relationship to others. That's a huge number, 4,400,000,000. And the colored people, 400,000,000 at the time of that writing. But the 400,000,000, look at them. They're producing food, clothing, shelter for themselves. And the third world peoples are out there looking for a handout. See, foxes have holes. Birds have nests. But the Son of Man is a victim of poor education. And as a result, he cannot fulfill his or her destiny. So I think I would like to close. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in our aim, he said, our aim is to get our people up from a life of drugs, dependency, fornication, adultery. All of these things cripple, strangle the spirit or the life force. See? Once you're free of that kind of life, your spirit is free. Now we just got to get you thinking like you should think. What do you want to do? What's your aim, Elijah Muhammad? To produce food, clothing, shelter. Manufacture what we need and sell the surplus. America was once a great nation. She's falling fast because she has relinquished manufacturing to cheap labor markets. And now millions of Americans are out of work. The suit we have on, the tie we wear, the dress. What's the fabric? What is it made from? I love cotton. You do? But you won't plant it? And you sure won't pick it. But they got machines to do that for you now. But if we had huge plantations of cotton, the enemy, when he came, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I want you to read it in Current Final Call. He talked about how they would weave, spinning yarn and whatnot. Remember that? A little over 100 years ago, they were weaving. Now the textile mills in America, gone. Look at the shoes on your feet. Poor things. Poor things. Oh, daughter. You're forced to buy shoes that are not good for your health. I mean, I saw, just before I came here, turned on the TV and the ESPY Awards were on. And there was my precious sister, Serena Williams, coming forward to announce the female athlete of the year. And I watched her as she walked. This is the God's truth. I'm not lying. Sister was walking, but those heels. And you know, she's kind of big, you know, in certain areas, you know. And certain areas look like two basketballs. Now, I'm not making mockery. And her dress was cut so low. The fatty part of her breast was out. I heard babies screaming in the audience. I figured they thought it was feeding time or something. I don't know. I said, man, this enemy has styled us in such a way that we're crazy. We're unhealthy. But suppose you had cattle. The cattle would give you its hide like it gave it to white folk. You could tan the hide and cobble shoes. You could buy the machines, set them up, man. We've got to go back to creating that which is good for us, selling it on the market, getting the money, research, develop, increase productivity. That is what education has got to do, or it's no value at all. So, Son of Man, you can't continue to be less than a fox and less than a bird. There is no bird that's on a worm line. The bird is getting worms, feeding itself and its young. You know how to make babies. Seems like you're very proficient in that department. But we're not proficient in providing for the babies that we make. As a result, our children are growing up without fathers and woefully underprepared mothers. So we need a new educational paradigm. That's what this is about. We need a new educational challenge. And just as I left the house coming here, I was flipping the dial, and they were talking about education in Chicago. And they don't understand how they transferred $70 million out of education and gave it to police. So they fired teachers, closed schools, and paid for more police. Do you think Mr. Emmanuel does not know what he's doing? What are they expecting? That they will close a school and transfer money, and the poor teachers didn't know how that happened. Money gone. New police got it. Teachers out there without a job. See, this is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad advised us, cajoled us, warned us, prodded us, and even begged us before it was too late. Get up and do something for yourself. So, dear sisters and brothers, in this great educational conference, I want us to look at curriculum and forget about the school system of this world. Just act as though it doesn't exist for us. And with a creative mind, now think. Under the guidance of the great Mahdi and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, just think on what they taught us. And look at what we have. And then look at what we can do if we just pooled our resources, educationally and financially, to do something for ourselves and our children. This is what Muhammad must do. We have to set the example. And this is why in your signing the Form 4, I asked us to recommit our lives to righteous conduct. Because without righteousness, the life force is strangled. When we make up our minds that we're going to do that which is right, we go to sleep at night and our minds are not troubled because of some evil that we sent forth during the day. You're not looking at a strange woman when you have a wife home waiting for you. You're not looking for a strange man when you got a husband. Well, I don't think I have a real good husband. Well, come to the class and learn how to make one. No, I'm serious now. You can condemn these men all day long. That ain't helping you. You just a dissatisfied, bitter woman. What you decide? I ain't got no man in my life. Well, hell, you didn't know how to make one. You mean I got to make one? Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes. And if you don't know how to make a man, then you'll never really love a man. God came and made a man. And all of you can't have the man that God made. But you can have the knowledge. Don't go home and open your mouth and cut him too short to sit down. Don't you think that these sisters don't carry razors with them? We search them coming in, but we let the tongue in, and that's, sorry. We let the gun, the razor, the knife, everything. But sisters, after you beat your man down, what do you have then? You know all his weaknesses, and you use them to beat him down. Use what you know to build him up. Because if you help to build him up, you're building something that you can honor. Someone you can respect. Someone, even with the wisdom, you can obey. What did you say? Yes, sister. Encourage him to come to class, and we have to make our classes now real classrooms. Sultan Rahman, I stand up, dear brother. Look, you know. I am so thankful to Allah for you, for the father and the mother that produced you. And I remember when he was just a little fellow, no matter what Elijah Muhammad was doing, when he came in the room, everything would stop. And Elijah Muhammad called him Chief, and would take Chief and put him on his lap, or he would stand by the table and Elijah Muhammad would talk to him. Little did we know, watching little Chief come in the room, that he would grow up one day to be a big chief. You know, a valuable asset to the nation of Islam. And I'm going to put all the ministers of the nation under your guidance to make them ready to deliver khutbahs and say their prayers in Arabic. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, one day we would learn our prayers in Arabic. Well, now his great-grandson is helping us to fulfill the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's words. All ministers will be trained Islamically. This is the University of Islam. And you can't take Islam out of it and make it what Elijah Muhammad and Master Farrakhan Muhammad wanted it to be. It is an Islamic university. And Islam must be at the root of everything. And this Quran. Read. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar. Okay, brothers and sisters, before you all start to leave out, we had a special presentation that was going to be done for the minister. If Sister Pastor Victoria, if you could have the students come down as soon as possible. Okay. These are two young brothers right here from the community, right here from the neighborhood, who works with Pastor Victoria, and they want to read poetry for the minister. Also, brothers and sisters.
Have you ever pretended to be dead?
Have you ever pretended to be dead?
I'm not exactly sure when we stopped keeping score, but we've been taking a back road to life and sacrificing even more. So much that Mr. Grim Reaper has made his home at our front door. We're no longer pretending because we don't have to. The idea of unplanned suicide makes me laugh too. Tell me, what about this may have you? Or are you even paying attention? Because every time ABC or Fox News interrupts their interviews to mention another kid dead or in critical condition, I wonder how many people actually listen.
Or try to envision, or put themselves in a position of the wives, the children, the mothers, the fathers, the uncles, and the people they live with who cried for the victims who all lost their lives in the system.
Did your ears try not to listen?
Or maybe we become desensitized by violence and must think that picket signs and riots will reverse the roles to who's poor and who's rich, or who controls the system that we're fighting against. It don't make sense. You can't bite the hand that feeds you unless you have food to feed others and becoming an equal. Or maybe you're becoming deaf or just being distracted by evil, or thought you were listening, but your ears deceived you.
Did you listen, or are your ears infected?
Like salmonella poison, these streets are infested, and it seems very little thought is being invested.
Whose?
Is it you?
Responsibility.
Is it you?
Is it?
Is it you?
Are you seeing this, or are your eyes filled with cataract? Perhaps the immediate impact has not yet made the contact necessary. The fact that I lost count of all the bodies we buried, I don't know about you, but they're just a little bit scary. And it seems that on a daily basis, I'm noticing all these different faces, and I don't know what the case is. It's the blame. I don't know where to place it. I realize that real eyes see real lies. So in my eyes, when they say that they're telling the truth about the black males and the youth are all gang affiliated or travel in groups, they tell you what they want you to hear. If the truth is known, America will no longer be the place that we call home. And we all roam not blinded by the fact that the media lies with immediate ties that the government tries to hide to keep concealed inside, that this whole world runs off of contradictions. That's why they try to run these dumb statistics on how the world believes in God but are non-religious. Go ahead.
Are you feeling this, or have you grown numb? Like the steel coldness of the tip of a gun, like the one in which the bullet came from that hit the 7-year-old boy outside just trying to have fun.
Can you feel it? Or have you become paralyzed from the blows to your heart when somebody dies? Or are you even surprised you have no emotion inside when someone loses their lives and nobody cries? I don't think that they can feel it. But let me rub it in so that they will absorb. I want to make sure we're on the same accord. What makes anyone think that we can afford to just be out for ourselves and not record everything which we call my land, your mistakes? We are not islands. We do not, cannot, and will not stand alone. It goes farther than the block that we call home. It's planet Earth, and we need to go out and roam. Whose?
Is it you?
Responsibility.
Is it you?
Is it?
Is it you?
Should we observe Mr. and Mrs. Celebrity, who's taking up space on TV but won't take face to reality? Shouldn't they take it so casually? We look at them as idols, representatives of the lives we eventually want to live. Couldn't they take the screen, make a scene so it could be seen that anyone could take the initiative to create an environment in the positive?
The blood in the streets, can you taste it?
It's flooding the streets so much it's being wasted. Let's face it, we complain about it and go back and replace it with even more. So much evil being drawn that we can't erase it. They say home is supposed to be the one place you can always run. But instead of home-cooked meals, kids walking in the slums. People ain't taking proper care of their daughters and sons. And we can blame it on them having these babies so young. But to love and to be loved is an essential need of a human being. They're only going looking for what they ain't already seeing. Parents putting their kids out the house, forgetting to reel them back in. Now realize that they're wanting a break. It's how it all begins. Maybe we became more interested in them and took more active roles. These kids wouldn't be found in the streets and then losing their souls.
And where are all the fathers at who never bothered to offer a hand to the family he helped created, but never really seemed to raise a void of responsibility in the most extreme ways? It seems today the population of single mothers is overbearing. Too many kids raised without mothers and fathers, being raised with no standards. Where are all the fathers at? So raise these young cats to teach them about other things besides drugs and gun straps. Savor the bitterness as it wraps around your taste buds. We can't afford to waste love. There's a limited supply, and let me tell you why.
Why do schools care more about men with braids than they do for them and their grades? Why are all public schools less funded? Well, I guess black schools just didn't fit in the budget, so they all drop out and they all ditch class because the school have gym teachers trying to teach math. Not only are they being robbed of knowledge, but they cheat themselves and end up dropping out of college. I never really made it through high school because their parents didn't have enough money to pick the right school. So they just become another statistic, get killed and go to jail like society predicted. Or was it predestined? Already saved in the system, inevitable extinction, what I call the Willie Lynch syndrome. So the streets become their teacher, and the block is their tutor, and the lifespan becomes shorter like the inches on the ruler. Instead of being successful, their careers are on benches just to shoot up until they become stiff, like a glimpse of Medusa. Whose?
Is it true?
Responsibility.
Is it true?
Is it?
Is it true?
Do you smell that?
It reeks of death, from weeks of death. Over a course of years, stronger than to see all these salty tears. From a new aroma, we call it fears. And when it falls, it steers. We're no longer in control. And the only way we know how to let it go is to cry. Please, I don't want to die.
Please, I don't want to die.
Please, I don't want to die.
Please, I don't want to die. I want to live.
So don't take my life,
because I'd rather give. It's a new aroma. We call it fears. And when it falls, it steers. Can you smell it? Or is your nose congested? If it is, confess it. If a lie tells more than the truth, then you probably want to test it. Here, let me make you a checklist. Hearing.
Test it.
Vision.
Test it.
Feeling.
Test it.
Why don't you taste?
Test it.
Smell. Have you checked it? Wait, that's not it.
The last one is common sense,
Which apparently is not that common.
This whole generation in need of rehabilitation for the non-education, no concentration, only conversating, contemplating on the occupation, trying to calculate the math, only doing the estimation. Restoration is needed, but they use violence and ventilation, which never solves the problem, but only worsens the situation.
All right, wind that back, big on.
Situation that worsens the problem, never which ventilation and violence, restoration, estimation, math, calculating, occupating, contemplating, conversation for concentration, no education for the non-rehabilitation and generation hold this.
It's
Common sense that if you don't try, you won't be successful, but instead you talk about you couldn't because somebody didn't let you.
It's
Common sense. When a girl hits 16, the sex has already happened, but you never asked if she was sexually active. It's not common sense.
to not know of your child's whereabouts, because when something happened, the media says it was the parent's fault. It's not common sense that when every black male gets shot, he was a good kid. The mother never knew he was in the gang, but the hood did. It's not common sense that everybody complain about what's on the radio and TV, but still watch the shows and go by the CDs. Whose?
Is it true?
Responsibility.
Is it true?
Is it?
Is it true?
Maybe.
Is it us?
It's our
Is it us?
responsibility.
Is it us?
This whole world is sick as pollution. You can't talk about a problem without a solution or depend on others with no participation. Everyone is to blame for their own situations.
Let's hear it for a real future. Now, they didn't learn that in school. You know, these young men, that should not just be for this room. I would like to record those two young men and put it on the album that's coming out this fall.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. We want to thank Pastor Victoria and the Ray of Hope organization. Sister Pastor Victoria, the minister wanted to know, did they write the poem themselves? Okay. Written by members of the group.
You tell them, my dear sister, that they represent the absolute strength of our future. These are not words of unintelligent, unthinking, uncaring people. Thank them. And along with Professor Griff, I would really like to have these things recorded and put on the market for the Ray of Hope, whatever funds come, because these are words from young people that will reach young people and educate young people and old people as well. So I want you to think about that, and we're trying to find a way that we can record it and put it out. And I think there's an album, there are recording companies that would like to do it. I would help to pay for it myself, just to make sure that it does get out so that people can hear what young people are doing with their time. Thank you very much.
And the minister mentioned Professor Griff from Public Enemy, which did so much to teach our people in the streets in the 90s. I want to thank Professor Griff for participating in the education conference.